Live tells are mostly overrated, except for one very specific type, timing tells. They're hard to fake, which means that when you spot them, you can make some ridiculously accurate reads. Over my 11 years playing live poker, I've picked up on 3 timing tells that have made me thousands. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to exploit each one of them and how to manage your own timing so you're not giving away information for free. Okay, so what exactly are timing tells? They are pieces of information you get from how long someone takes to act, things like acting very fast or taking their time. They don't require any soul reading or watching some body parts that may or may not reveal anything. Timing tells are objective and much harder to control consistently than physical behavior. And one of the most reliable ones is when players act very fast. To show you what I mean, imagine someone asks you what 2 plus 2 is. You don't need to pause or weigh different possibilities. You instantly say 4 because the answer was already decided in your head before you even spoke. But now imagine someone asks you what 24 times 7 is. Would you be able to come up with the answer straight away without thinking about it? I can see someone sitting there thinking, ha ha ha, I won the state mathematics championships and I can solve any mathematical problem in half a second. But for the majority of us, this is not something we could solve within milliseconds. We'd have to do the math in our head, or we might even need a calculator. And poker players do the exact same thing with their actions. Let me show you an example. You raise pre-flop with ace-queen offsuit over a limper. The big blind calls and the limper calls as well. The flop comes 7-3 deuce rainbow. Everyone checks. The turn is the king of hearts, bringing in a flush draw. You decide to take a stab and the big blind snap calls. The limper folds. Now, what does that quick call mean? Well, just like the math example, he didn't need to think much about it. So, here's what it usually doesn't mean: a very strong hand. If he had a set, a good king, or some unlikely 2 pair, he would at least pause to consider raising. He might still just call, but he usually wouldn't do it instantly because he would have to think about his options. That snap call often means one of 2 things: a flush draw or a weak, mediocre hand like a small pocket pair or a 7. In other words, his range is capped. He usually does not have a monster. So what should our reaction be? Once you know his range is capped and he doesn't have a great hand, you can apply pressure. If you've got a value hand, size your bet so he can't comfortably fold those weaker holdings. And if you're bluffing, you can fire a big turn or river bet and put all those middling pairs in a miserable spot. But there's one important exception to all of this: the automatic check. Let's say you raise pre-flop, the big blind calls, and the flop comes down heads up. Most players in the big blind are checking to the pre-flop raiser almost no matter what board comes. So, when they instantly tap the table, that usually doesn't tell you anything about hand strength. Why? Because they never had a real decision to make in the first place. Their action was already predetermined before it was even their turn. That's very different from a snap call or snap bet, where the player actually had multiple options to consider. So be careful not to overvalue fast checks in spots where checking is automatic anyway. And if you're the one with a capped range here, try not to snap call automatically yourself. Even taking 5 or 10 seconds before you act can stop observant players from narrowing your range so easily. And by the way, if you want more live poker exploits, I put together a free PDF with how to exploit every player type at your table. You can download it through the link in the description or by scanning this QR code. Fast actions aren't the only useful timing tell. Sometimes the strongest information comes from players who suddenly take a very long time. And this next tell is one I see all the time on the turn. Let's say you raise pre-flop and get called by the big blind. You c-bet the flop for half pot and he calls. Now the turn comes, you size up, and suddenly your opponent goes deep into the tank. He grabs chips, puts them back, looks at the board again, then he takes a deep breath, looks away from the table like he's trying to escape the situation entirely. What's happening here? He is uncomfortable. And in poker, discomfort usually means weakness. Because when players have very strong hands, decisions tend to become easier, not harder. A player with a set or two pair usually isn't sitting there in emotional pain trying to figure out what to do. But medium strength hands and draws are the hands that create anxiety. So when a player tanks forever and then finally calls, they're often telling you something very important. I don't love this spot, but I can't fold yet. That means their range is usually capped around medium strength hands and draws. If you're bluffing, this is where the huge river barrel becomes incredibly effective because now you're attacking a range that already showed discomfort on the previous street. And if you're value betting, you need to choose a size that you feel confident your opponent's medium strength hands will call. Now, I will say this, out of all of the tells in this video, this is the one that can occasionally be faked. Twice in my life, I've seen players act like they were in absolute agony only to turn over quads on the river. But there's an important detail here. Both times those players were in position. Why does that matter? Because in position, they know they can still win a huge pot on the river even after just calling the turn. Out of position, players usually can't risk that. If they fake weakness with a monster, there's always the danger the river goes check and they lose value. So, when out of position players tank forever and just call, it's usually much more genuine. And if they suddenly turn that long tank into a check raise instead, well, now the story changes completely. And unless you have a very strong hand yourself, you can usually make an easy fold. But the same thing applies to you. When you're on a draw or sitting with a marginal hand, that's when you're most likely to go into the tank. If every long tank you make is weakness, good players will eventually figure that out. So be aware of what your timing is communicating. The next tell is my favorite because it works from both sides. Not only can you exploit it when other players do it, but it's also one of the few timing tells you can deliberately use yourself. I've used this move for years and honestly it works shockingly well. Here's the spot. Let's say we get to the river with second pair and we're out of position. We know that if the hand checks down, there's a very realistic chance our hand is good. But if a huge bet goes into the middle, second pair suddenly becomes a pretty miserable bluff catcher. So, what do we secretly want? We want the hand to end right now. We want to avoid facing a river bet. And one of the best ways to make that happen is to tank before checking. You sit there, you stare at the board, maybe count out chips, maybe look back at your cards one more time. You create the impression that you're debating whether to value bet or not. And this massively affects how your opponent interprets your range usually. Because while they sit there waiting for you to act, they subconsciously start thinking, maybe he was considering betting. And this will change their actions often. If they have a thin value hand, they now become more likely to check back because your tank makes your range look stronger. And if they were planning to bluff, they'll often become less aggressive too, because now it feels more likely that you'll bluff catch them. So, your tank check ends up accomplishing exactly what you wanted. It reduces the chances your opponent puts more money into the pot. I've done this many times where I tank for up to a minute, check, and then my opponent instantly checks back behind. And when they do, they very often show up with exactly the kind of hands that would have bet if I had checked quickly. Now, here's the important part though. If I had complete air, I usually wouldn't bother with this performance, because with total garbage, I don't care whether my opponent bets or not. I'm not going to win the hand either way. And that's what makes this tell so powerful when other players do it. When someone tanks forever and then checks the river out of position, they're often telling you two things at once. First, they probably don't have a monster, and second, they really don't want to face a bet. But at the same time, they often have a hand strong enough to bluff catch. So, how do we exploit this? If you have a strong value hand, you can often size up bigger than usual because they're psychologically anchored towards calling. But if you're bluffing, you need to understand that this type of player hates folding after all that emotional investment. So, against some opponents, the best adjustment is actually to give up. And against others, the exploit is the exact opposite. You go huge and put maximum pressure on all those medium strength hands that clearly wanted a cheap showdown. And if you want to know how to exploit every player type, don't forget to download your free PDF. Click the link below or scan this QR code. And if you want to find another quick way to improve your win rate at live low stakes, then watch this video next.